What up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the Sheer Brilliance podcast. What's going on, Knicks Nation? We are live today, okay? The bravery is coming forth. I love my video content, but I figured we got to go live today because of this cardiac victory that our team gifted us against the Charlotte Hornets. So shout out to the New York Knicks for securing this victory. But before we jump into all of that, let me do my shout outs, all right? First and foremost, shout out SB community. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. Welcome back. Okay? I see you. Cameron, shout out to you, sir. I see you. Thank you for staying with me, rocking with me. 600 strong on this channel. We are growing. We're doing big things, okay? If you're going to be watching this video, if you're going to join me at some point in time during the broadcast, or if you're going to join me afterwards, okay? Welcome. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. We love that. Do me a favor. Click that like button, hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Join us, SB community. We're a movement, and we're building this thing up. Okay? And I can't celebrate all of those people who support you along the way, right? Those people who are positive, who like what you do, who show you how to get better. We can always celebrate those people, right? But there's a faction of people who really serve as your motivation, all right? At least they do for me, okay? Sometimes these people will be around you, but they don't give you those words of encouragement. They just watch your moves. Sometimes you don't know they're there. Sometimes you know they're there. And like right now, they're here in the comment section. I see you. I see you in the comment section. Okay? These are the ops. I know you there. But I applaud you too. Welcome to the Sheer Brilliance podcast. Okay? Friend or foe, we want the smoke. Okay? And the smoke is exactly what we're bringing today, courtesy of the Cardiac Knicks and their thriller victory in overtime against the Charlotte Hornets. So let's get started. Listen, last night was a hell of a win, okay? It was an absolute hell of a win. And there's no other way that I celebrate Knicks victories here at the Sheer Brilliance podcast than by doing it Knicks Deli Edition style. Yes. So for those people who are new to the Sheer Brilliance podcast, I want to welcome you first and foremost. But let me share with you how this works, okay? Knicks Deli is a component to the Sheer Brilliance podcast that we do after every victory that the New York Knicks celebrate during the season, okay? And here at Knicks Deli, all right, that's where you go. The deli is a staple in New York, okay? Everybody knows a deli or everybody knows a bodega, all right? But here at Knicks Deli, there are only 4 items on the menu, all right? So the first item is this. The first item is the bacon, egg, and cheese, okay? Shout out to the bacon, egg, and cheese, okay? So what the bacon, egg, and cheese is as it relates to this victory for our team is who are the 3 components, who are the 3 players, who are the 3 ingredients that go perfectly together to make that sandwich perfect. All right, so we want to talk about the 3 players who contributed to last night's game, who really set the tone for helping pace us to this victory. All right, so we're going to find out who is the bacon of the game, who's the egg, and who's the cheese. So that's the bacon, egg, and cheese. Next on the menu is the dollar slice. Shout out to the dollar slice. Yes. So the dollar slice is that player, all right? Everybody knows New York has the best pizza in the world. I mean, in the world, okay? But the pizza, the dollar slice is a staple of New York, all right? It's a classic. It is stabilizing. So we want to look at what was the player that without their stabilizing contribution, we wouldn't be in position to secure this victory that we did last night. So we're going to look at the player who was the dollar slice of the game. Okay? All right, hold your applause. Next, we want to look at who is the chopped cheese. Yeah. So the chopped cheese is relatively new to the New York menu scene, but that joint be busting. So we want to look at who is the player that has relatively new arrival to the team, to the playbook, or just a little bit of tweak in how they're used that definitely contributed to this game, and then they helped us bust this thing open. So we're going to look at who was the chopped cheese of the game. And finally, the last item on the menu, the last item that makes this thing whole. You can't have a chopped cheese. You can't have a dollar slice. You can't have a bacon, egg, and cheese unless you have something to wash it down with. So who is the quarter water of the game? Okay? And the quarter water is that person that had an impact on this game, whether it's in one quarter or a little bit. They've impacted each quarter that really helped us secure and tie up and wrap up this victory and get over the top. All right? So we're going to talk about that menu. We're going to go through those 4 items. And then lastly, there's a component to Knicks Deli Edition that I added called Nah, Son, Nah. You wildin'. You wildin'. All right? And that's a point in the game that made you look at the screen sideways and give that side eye, right? That, and it really made you shake your head like, nah, son, nah. Yo, you wilding for that, okay? So that could be a player. That could be something that they do in the game. That could be a broadcaster. That could be something that the broadcaster says in the game. Or that could be a reporter or some topic or something that surrounded the game. But somebody's getting that distinction. Somebody we're going to look at sideways and be like, you wilding, all right? And after that, we're going to just have parting thoughts. I'm going to check into the chat, my SB community. If you start piling in, please feel free to leave comments. I'm still relatively new to the live stream, so it may take me a moment to kick around and figure out to get you and your comments on, but I will, all right? So we're going to get this thing underway. Let's get busy, all right? So the first thing we want to look at are who are the 3 ingredients? Who is the bacon, egg, and cheese of the game, all right? 3 players that really contributed to the game that I decided make up the bacon, egg, and cheese of this game, okay? If you have someone different, put it into the comment section who you had differently, and I'm going to take a look at it. I like to read through all of the comments as well so we can get started, but I'll start off with the bacon, all right? Last night was really an interesting game in so many respects, okay? A lot of what I'm going to lean into is going to be positive, but we're going to address some areas that really need to be addressed because last night wasn't one of the most perfect games we've played. All right, we all know that, okay? But let me stick to the script and go accordingly. So we want to talk about who, for me, was the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese. And that distinction goes to Jalen Brunson. Round of applause for Jalen Brunson. Our point guard, could you step forward, please? Mr. Jalen Brunson, we're going to look at his stat line real quick. I call him the Terminator, okay? The Terminator. Yeah. Gunshot, New York, okay? Listen, man, the Terminator, I call him that because this man will slaughter you with a straight face, stone cold, okay? Stone cold straight face. Comes to do a job, wouldn't be deterred from doing his job. And last night he did the job at the tune of 27 points, at the tune of 13 rebounds. 13 assists, at the tune of a career high 13 assists. All right. Jalen Brunson, everybody knows that this guy right here, Money Making Mitch, that's one of my favorite players. All right. But before the season even started, before training camp or preseason even started, I went on a limb and I said, this guy right here, this guy is going to be my favorite player on the New York Knicks. And it's been years since I've had a favorite player. But I already knew based on the videos that I watched, we were thinking about getting him to come to the team. His demeanor's different. We haven't had this in New York in I don't know how long. Someone who doesn't yearn for the spotlight, but his actions demand it. All right? That's this point guard. We've had point guards in the past. Yeah, we could talk about Steph all day, and rightfully so. We could talk about Raymond Felton. We could talk about Mark Jackson. Go way back. But when have you had a player who's had the impact that Jalen Brunson has had, who doesn't yearn for that spotlight? All he wants to do is win. That's all he wants to do is win. And so far, his impact has been infectious. It's been infectious. It's infected the team. You notice they're following a little bit more of a serious approach. They're trying to sprinkle in some of that, good sense of humor with IQ and Obi, and they're keeping that fun. But when they're walking between the lines, man, they're about business. And that comes from their leader. That comes from their point guard on the floor. Jalen Brunson, man, in 4 games has really changed the profile of this team. Okay? 13 assists, career high for him. Okay? This man has proven a lot of people wrong. I know many of our videos, we talk about that. Jalen Brunson has proven a lot of people wrong. Okay? A lot of people who doubted him. I tweeted a little bit earlier because what popped up in my feed was this video of Nick Wright and Chris Broussard. Okay? And they were talking about the New York Knicks and free agency, and that the New York Knicks seem to be proud of themselves because they secured Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson doesn't move the needle. Okay? Well, there are free agents that everybody goes after. All right? That for many are the right free agent. But what you have to learn to do is figure out who's the free agent that's right for you. And Jalen Brunson, as the point guard of the New York Knicks, is proving, and it's only 4 games, but he's proving that he's the right pick for us. All right, the right signing for us. Jalen Brunson, man, honestly speaking, I talked a little bit about his formula, the formula he follows when he goes into the game. All right, it's almost like part of the game plan is for him to set the tone in terms of looking for his shot a little bit early. Okay, he goes in and he sets the tone, breaks down the defender, gets to the basket. He takes a few shots on his own a little bit early. I think that relaxes everybody else and takes off that pressure of just getting on the scoreboard. Okay, then he gets into this rhythm of looking for RJ and Randall. All right, starting to spread it around a little bit. Love the fact that he's resurrected the pick and roll in New York. Y'all see that? He's now listen, man. One of the simplest, iconic plays you could ever play, and that's what I absolutely loved about the D'Antoni regime, because they perfected the pick and roll with Felton and Stoudemire. You start doing that with Obi, it's going to be a wrap. We're going to get to that. But Jalen Brunson, man, just brings a different dynamic to this team that we haven't had in forever. All right? He controls the pace of the game. He gets everybody on the same page. And anytime the attention goes to him and the applause and the accolades go to him, he deflects it. He deflects it. Listen, yes, I know what you're saying, but I wouldn't be anything without my team. You know what I mean? I play with a great group of fellas and talent on the team. And that's exactly what you need from a point guard. The message that we're being fed is that nobody cares about who gets the credit as long as you win. And he said from the day that he stepped into the league, all he cares about is winning. And his history has shown that all he cares about is getting the win. So my bacon for the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich today is Jalen mother flipping Brunson. Stand up, Jalen. Let's go. Jalen Brunson. Next, who is the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese? All right? If you're coming in for the first time, these are the 3 ingredients that really contributed to this win and helped us go over the top to secure this victory. So my egg for the bacon, egg, and cheese is RJ mother flipping Barrett. RJ, stand up, please. Stand up, stand up. Yes. Everybody put your hands together for RJ Barrett. Once again, RJ Barrett. Now, if you had somebody different for the bacon, egg, and cheese, put that in the comment section. But my reason for selecting RJ for the egg, in the bacon, egg, and cheese today is a little bit twofold. All right. If you're a rap aficionado, Shout out to Jay-Z. This is a double entendre right now for me awarding RJ the egg for the bacon, egg, and cheese. Because part of it was RJ continues to get a little bit off to a shaky start. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but this is something that I'm kind of noticing. He had a stronger start the game prior, but this game he just seemed off. And I don't know if he's still trying to find his way into the rhythm of the start of the game. I don't know if he is still trying to, um, get accustomed to his role. There's something that's just not clicking right now in terms of him getting off to a strong start to the game. So that's the other piece. The positive piece is that he always tends to find his footing. He sticks with it, no matter how he starts or where he is. Certain points in the game, as you see him go up and down the floor, you recognize that he's figuring out, okay, how can I impact this game? So there'll be a couple of shots where you're like, what are you doing? Or turnovers where you're just like, you don't want to get frustrated because you know he's one of your stars and you know he's capable and he's equipped. But man, he'll make you pull your hair out. And last night, this was me. I had a full head of flowing hair. Okay. And this is what I ended up with after yelling at the screen at RJ. Okay. It was out of hand. It was ridiculous. But he always finds a way to chip away at it. And whether it's hitting a big shot or completing a drive or getting fouled, and last night, as he did, hitting two clutch free throws or 4 clutch free throws, RJ always finds his way back. He always finds his way back, which makes you think, this is why we keep him on the floor and allow for him to work through those challenges. Okay? So this is exactly what RJ did last night. RJ had 22 points, 8 rebounds. But what he did was he showed, in the clutch, you get fouled with the game on the line. What he worked on this past summer were those free throws. Okay? So I'm going to give him a shout out for that. You can see his work. You can see his work. He put in the work. Now, I don't know if y'all noticed this. I don't know if y'all saw this also. And I don't know if I'm just diving into this a little too deep. Okay, maybe I am an overthinker when it comes to stuff like that. Okay, but I wanna point out that I think he had the opportunity to pass the ball to like Jalen, so that Jalen could get fouled, so he could take those free throws. But it's almost like I gotta go back and watch the game one more time. It's almost like he held on to the ball so he could get fouled, so he can go to the line. Okay. Now, there's 2 things I can take from that in the spirit of the double entendre Jay-Z style. Shout out Jay-Z, Brooklyn. One is that he wanted to prove he had ice water in his veins. Okay, and that's what you want from your young player, the confidence. I want to show you the work that I want to put in. I want to show you I'm built for New York. Ice water in the veins. And then you can be proud of him for that. The other side was that the right play? With the game and being in a position to have the victory on the line, was that kind of selfish that you wouldn't give it to the person who has shown a history of performing under pressure versus you taking that ownership on? So once again, it's only 4 games. Knicks fans, we're doing what we're doing. We're Knicks fanning, okay? So we're going to critique them. But that was one of those moments where I was just like, when he first did it, I'm like, come on, RJ, the game was on the line. He had one of those, no, yes, in terms of free throw shooting, all right? But he made the shots. And what he did was basically show that if I'm on the floor and I'm placed in a position where I have to help and contribute and come through in pressurized situations, I got you. And for that, New York, salute to you, RJ. Salute to you, straight up, okay? So RJ is my egg for the bacon, egg, and cheese. All right. Shout out to RJ. Round of applause for that man one more time. All right. Next, who is the final piece of that sandwich, that thing that be busting, that bacon, egg, and cheese? Who is the cheese on the bacon, egg, and cheese? And for me, that goes to Mr. Julius Randle Caesar. All right. Julius Randle, because it's no more thumbs down. It's the thumbs up. All right, Julius Randle, shout out. Julius Randle, put your hands together for him. All right. Now, we could have gone a number of different ways, all right, for this last person that makes up the bacon, egg, and cheese. But I wanted to give it to Jules, okay? Shout out to Jules. Jules ended with a stat line of 17 points and 6 rebounds, okay? And a key putback that really was a galvanizing moment, all right? And a moment that I think had a lot of messaging in it, all right? So what I want to say about that is this. Julius is not only trying to prove that he can get back to where he was 2 years ago. Julius Randle is on a redemption tour, okay? Julius Randle is on a redemption tour, and we may not want to believe it or admit it, but Knicks fans, we're on a redemption tour as well, all right? Shout out to both of us. Because Julius has played probably the most enjoyable brand of basketball I've enjoyed watching him play since he's been in the league, all right? The way he's played over the last 4 games, with the exception of certain moments, so certain moments, the old Julius kind of appears to creep back in. But for the most part, I want to say that I've really, truly enjoyed watching Julius Randle play within this system that we've been playing all 4 games this season. Okay, he plays unselfish. He's a high-level finisher around the basket. He's a bull, and that's becoming more and more evident when he plays against his opponent, his matchup. They can't really do anything with his strength. Something that's serving to be more frustrating to him than it has been in the past is when you are strong and you're that skilled and you're that versatile and you got a little bit of speed on you like he has. And now you have a point guard who can place you in positions to be successful, and you don't have to do that ball handling all the time, then people are going to foul you and the refs ain't going to call it, okay? We see it with Giannis. We saw it with Shaq. I don't want to say Julius Randle is Giannis or Shaq. I don't want to hear you in the comment section already. Y'all not hey, be easy. Be easy. I'm not saying that, okay? Listen, I want to be running for my own life. But what I'm saying is this is ultimately what you're going to see. And now that they've sprinkled in that pick and roll, and so y'all see how smooth that pick and roll is between Brunson and Randle? Listen, I've really enjoyed watching Julius Randle play, okay? But it was that moment where towards the latter part of the third or either the latter part of the overtime, when he was able to, when Brunson put up that shot and it careened off of the basket, and Julius Randle was able to secure the rebound, he pivoted real quick. If he would have went right back up, somebody would have got their hands and blocked the ball. I'm gonna eliminate the pause for this live, okay? Because I had those moments where damn, it's not a pause. We're gonna put some pause. Somebody could have got their hands on the ball and redirected his shot, but he grabbed the ball. He had enough awareness to pivot and then put it back up. Being the lefty, we have 3 of them. That's one of the small things that's going to make a big difference this season. But for him to have the offensive awareness around the basket to do so and then put it back up, he knew it was key. And for him to let out the roar that he let out, you know what I mean, was sharing that emotion with us. If y'all remember, towards the end of last season, he stopped doing that. He was just going about his day. He wasn't even showing us, no, I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to share this moment with you. That was his attitude. So for him to do that and really kind of let that out and express that, it fired the crowd up, And I was just like, yo, let's go. Because that was a moment that he was sharing that moment with us. Like, yo, get up, get live. We got this. And you see how his teammates came up to him with RJ. You know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, let's get at it. So I love that moment, man. It was a small moment, but that's how I read it. I know a lot of people felt a little bit different about it, and everybody got their point of view. But how I read that was he was reconnecting with the fans, and the fans gave him that love back. So both of us, we're on redemption tours. We're coming back together with Julius. He knows that it wasn't personal. It's always just about, yo, listen, if you put forth that effort, we're gonna ride with you, but be open to, like, we expect more from you because you've proven that you can do more. Okay. So with that being said, once again, Julius Randle, I think has been consistent. There's a lot of things, and we're going to talk about this towards the end of this session. A lot of things that needs improvement. All right. But what you can't take away from that man is he's been steady. He's been just, a joy to watch with the new point guard in this new system. And he's been playing like he's had less pressure. It's not pressure on him. All right. And you can tell his style of play and his ability to finish. And so shout out. Kudos to Jules. You make up the cheese and the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich here at Knicks Deli. All right, shout out to you guys. So real quick, before I go any further, let me take a look at the comment section, see what y'all are talking. I want to welcome you all back. What up, Ox? What up, Ox? If you are new to Knicks Deli, sometimes they say, what up, Ox, when they go into the deli. Ox is short for Aki, which means my brother when they go up in there. So when they say Ox, it's like, what up, my brother? So first and foremost, let me put the comment up. I see Cameron Goldberg in the chat. What up, my brother? What's going on? That fourth quarter is still pissing me off, though. They need to fix those bad fourth quarters. I am with you. We are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that at the very end. There's a lot that was left on the table to be desired. There's a lot of struggles, but we're going to get into that as well. So welcome to you. All right, next up. Hey, we got Ashley. Thank you for supporting. Ashley Inc. 1. She says, Mitch is my egg and Randle is my cheese. Let's go. We're going to talk about Mitch. I didn't forget about Mitch, but I'm glad that you put that in there. So shout out to you as well. Once again, if you had anybody else different, put it into the chat. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. Garuka Kalara says, facts, sir. Ride with me. I appreciate you. And he also agrees, says redemption it is. I believe it. This is a journey we got to take together. Got to take it together. It's almost like we were part of that group chat that they had in the off season where they had to air out all of the problems. All right. So we got to be with them as well. There's other things I'm going to talk about towards the end that talks about that as well. Google also says, going through Randall's timeline 2 years ago, he came up and hats off to RJ and Rose because they make him comfortable last year. They bought Kimber. I'm sure Randall had high hopes when it didn't work. All right. That's a great point, too. It's a great point. So I got a few more. I appreciate you, Garuka. I hope I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. Randall took everything to his shoulder. Now he has that guy he can share that responsibility with. Facts. And that's the case for all of them. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about the leader piece because a lot of people, it's so funny. You got to wonder why Madison Square Garden doesn't let the major media move so freely and have such free access to the players. Because I saw a couple of shows that was, pretty much analyzing the win. And they were saying, you know what? Did this game prove that this is Jalen Brunson's team now? Okay. And I'm sitting there like, yo, bruh, it's not even about that, And some people said, well, it was Jalen Brunson's team the moment he started. Well, Ian Begg said this, and I'm a fan of Begg's. Ian Begley said it was kind of his team the moment he started gathering that team together before training camp. But the way you've seen this team play, there's not going to be a leading scorer as we know it. You know what I mean? I think everybody's going to have an opportunity to contribute. I wouldn't be surprised if we end the season and there is only like one person barely above 20. One or two people barely above 20. But we may have 4 people who are like 19 in the high teens, 4 or 5. Okay? That's the type of style, if we continue to play, that's the route that we're going towards. And with that being said, everybody has an opportunity to contribute leadership. It won't be just one person. And that's a difference that if we can adhere to, I believe in order to get something you've never had, you got to be willing to do something you've never done. And that's something we've never done before. And hopefully it can get us some things we've never had. Higher playoff seed and see where it goes. All right. So that's a great point about Kemba as well. I'm going to take one more and then we're going to just jump back into it. Oh, yeah, that's a correction on the last comment. Appreciate you, sir. All right, so let's get back into it. So we talked about who was the bacon, egg, and cheese. All right, let me kind of move up a little bit. So next is going to be the dollar slice. All right, the dollar slice. So we will talk about, let's look at it this way, okay? Who is the dollar slice of the game? If you are new to Knicks Deli, let me talk to you a little bit about what the dollar slice is. All right, the dollar slice is that reliable factor within the game that contributed to securing this victory. All right, so who are we going to put as the dollar slice of the game? All right, that person is going to be, it was just mentioned not too long ago, Mitchell mother flipping Robinson, the blockless monster. Yeah. New York. No, New York. Yeah. The blockless monster. Come on, man. Listen, Mitchell Robinson, I got so much to say about this guy. I did a video in the summertime just to kind of go back. And this is not an I told you so, but this is like an I told you so. Okay. Once that man secured his contract, right? Before he did, I added him on Twitter, and he gave me he hit the like button. I said, "Yo, listen, we want you back, big man. We want you back in New York. You've been playing like New York since you've been here. But if you secure that bag, and we are confident you will secure that bag, there's some things we need from you. You know, we see you easily winning Defensive Player of the Year. We used to have a big man here in New York named Tyson Chandler, and he won his Defensive Player of the Year while he played for the New York Knicks. If that's one of your goals, we want you to reach that here. In order to do so, there's a couple of things you need to do. You need to communicate. You need to communicate while you're on defense, but you need to have more of a serious demeanor when you're on the court. That's literally what I told him, in the video. That was my message. Because that's the one thing he's missing. The way he plays demands and commands respect. All right, that's not in question. But how you carry yourself as the defensive anchor of what's going to be known as a top defensive team. I think we were at number 4 in terms of defense so far. Okay? As a top defensive team, and you're the anchor, you're the defensive quarterback, and you are jokey and, with the other team, come on, bro. Or even with your own team, but on the floor in front of the opponents, we don't expect you to change your personality. But on the floor, once you cross those lines, yeah, we do. We do. You know what I mean? You need to be the blockless monster, bro. That's your spot. This is your job. And that's exactly what he's doing. Listen, Mitch Robinson has found a playing weight that he's comfortable with. He's comfortable with the playing weight. He's slimmed down enough that he knows he's at his most effective and he can move like he used to and be mobile. This man is blocking jump shots. He blocked Bowles' jump shot. Bowles' arms are long enough to box with God. And he was able, that's some blasphemous stuff. I apologize. Listen, he blocked his shot. One of the rare people, and I saw his Twitter, he had posted that up recently as well. One of the rare people in the league who can block Kevin Durant's jump shot. And last night he did it again. He was able to block a jump shot, and people are surprised that he's able to reach that long. 6 blocks last night. What are you doing? That is our center. 6 blocks. And that's 6 blocks. I'm not counting the number of shots he altered. And when I talked about his level of seriousness, in addition, his level of seriousness that matches his play, where do you see that at? You see it in his interviews now. Now he is more clear in how he communicates. Before, he used to speed through his answer. He wouldn't, he had this kind of, like, almost like a nervous, and that comes with being young. We drafted him very young. But he's now so sure about himself. And he speaks the game clearly. He talks about what he's seen and what he's worked on and what he can get better at, how he's viewing the game. He's saying this in interviews now. Yo, and I'm so proud. And he keeps the same demeanor. And when they talk a little bit about how do you speak about other players on a team, he can now speak about his teammates without joking or bringing them in and taking some of that. It's like he knows that he's a key to this whole thing now. And anytime they bring up that contract, he's quick to tell you. Some people get complacent. Some people relax. He said, yeah, I got a little bag, but I'm more hungry. I want to prove that they made a good investment. And I want another bag. Come on, man. Shout out to him saying, I want another bag. You ain't supposed to say that once you secure the bag, but who cares what you're supposed to do? He said it, and at least it shows us that he has goals. That's something he's trying to reach. That's leadership. But that's also the effect of the person that you just signed, who is the point guard, quote unquote, the leader of your team. That's his personality. That's the impact that Jalen Brunson has had on this team. Everybody else is carrying their demeanor a little bit more serious than they had in the past because they have a goal. And I love that. So shout out to Mitch Robinson. Once again, you see on the scroll, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 6 blocks. Listen, we have our defensive anchor. This man, I'm not going to be surprised if he keeps it up and he stays healthy. He's going to be looking at not only being in the category as a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, but maybe most improved as well. All right? So join me in giving a round of applause. Mitch, block this monster, Robinson. Okay? Once again, another round of applause. All right? Do me a favor. Who did you have as your dollar slice for this game? That person that was consistent, their steady contribution helped us secure this victory. Put that in the comment section as well. Let me run over to the comment section, see what y'all saying. Y'all talking smack as well. Let me put some of these up. Give me one moment. And let me see. So I got Ruggs89. Salute to you, sir. Salute. Salute. New York salute. Let's go. Appreciate you. There's jokes. GK, I see you, man. I appreciate you as well. You know. So we're going to dive right in. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for supporting this. I'm new to the live, so I'm poking my way around this thing. And but we're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. So I want to move on. So we talked about the dollar slice, that being Mitch. Okay? Who is next? All right? We want to talk about which player had a relatively new impact on the game or to the team, but has been standing out as of late. Okay? That's the person we're going to give the chopped cheese. And if you know anything about New York, and you know the chopped cheese is really relatively new to the menu, but that thing be busting. Okay, that thing be busting. So we want to talk about who is that player that is either relatively new to the team, relatively new in terms of how their game impacts us winning, or in this case, for me, selecting this person, relatively new in how they're being used. But to me, that thing be busting. And that player is Derrick Rose. Shout out to Derrick Rose. Round of applause for D Rose being the chopped cheese of the game. New York, round of applause for Derrick Rose being the chopped cheese. All right? I'm going to take a different spin on this, okay? Because if we look at the stat line below on the scroll, Derrick Rose had 12 points. He was 5 of 7 from the field goal range, all right? He had a three-pointer. That was a key three-pointer as well. If you think back to 2 or 3 years ago with Derrick Rose, They used to dare him to shoot the three-pointer, dare him to shoot the three-point shot. They was just like, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You remember you saw how they was disrespecting Anthony Davis behind the three-point line in those highlights. And I don't want to bring up another team, but how he went to pull up for three and the guy just rubbed his nose and walked away from Portland. They used to do that with D Rose. They also used to do that with Obi. Truth be told, and they joked about it. Obi and D Rose was just like, yo, we can't be the people on the team that other teams just like, nah, you shoot that, I'm going for the rebound. Okay? Derrick Rose, his impact on the game when he plays is so noticeable. Okay? But his impact on our season is going to be more noticeable by All-Star break. All right? And that's what I'm talking about. That's why I put him down as the chopped cheese. People will point at his statistics and say he only played 12 minutes. What is Tom Thibodeau doing? I'm here to tell you, Tibbs is preserving his point guard. This has been the first season in a while that he doesn't have to lean on Derrick Rose the way he's had to historically. Now, some of you are arguing, well, that's because he got a new toy to lean on. He's going to be leaning on Jalen Brunson. He's supposed to. That is your young starting point guard, okay? But between Jalen Brunson, between IQ, and between Derrick Rose, you got three ball handlers that you can interchangeably go to. They have different styles they bring to the game, all right? And I love the fact that he is not pushing Rose out there. He is saving Rose's legs. He's allowing him to work his way back into a rhythm of the season. And he's using him efficiently, okay? I can clearly see by January or by February, that's when he's going to begin evening out those minutes between all three of those players. But in the meantime, him playing Brunson at the rate that he's playing him is really familiarizing the whole team with Brunson's play style, okay? It's almost like an extension of training camp and preseason to get them out there, get them all together so that they become accustomed to learning each other and where they want to be most comfortably on the floor, all right, to be most productive. But Derrick Rose, man, it's been great seeing him back, having him part of our fabric to the team and contributing to wins. It's been great seeing how he's complimented Jalen Brunson. Derrick Rose has never been the type of player who's been intimidated by anybody else, or who felt insecure about another player coming in. Jalen Brunson gives him his roses at every moment he can get. Talks about the impact of Derrick Rose, okay? But Derrick Rose's leadership also is continuing to help mentor these young players. And we see it all the time. So D Rose, once again, contributed last night. Stat line was 12 points in 12 minutes, hit a key three. It's just been great seeing another year with him helping mentor our young players. And also, shout out, this is a little bit aside to basketball, shout out to my expert opinion, Mav Hoffa. Shout out to that man. If you haven't seen it or you don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube, look up My Expert Opinion. Derrick Rose is one of the guests on his show. And Derrick Rose talks a lot about his upbringing, his childhood, and it really adds some context and it gives you some insight into Derrick Rose as a person that we don't get while we see him on the court. So great view, but the person who is my dollar slice, person who is my chopped cheese of the game is Derrick Rose. So shout out and applause for D Rose. All right, last thing on the menu. All right, you can't have a chopped cheese. You can't have a dollar slice. You can't even have the bacon, egg, and cheese if you ain't got nothing to wash it down with. So the last item on the menu here at Knicks Deli is the quarter water. The quarter water. Okay? Now, For those of you who are new to Knicks Deli, you want to know what the quarter water is, look at the scrolling line. Quarter water is that person who has a breakout quarter, all right? Or who is noticeably given impact a little bit in each quarter. But for the purpose of this example, the person who I'm awarding the quarter water to is Obi Mother Flippin' Toppin. Shout out to Obi Toppin. Yeah. Now, some of you may have something different. I'm going to say put who you had in as the quarter water, that person who had a breakout in a quarter or an impact in a quarter that you would put as the quarter water of the game. The reason I'm giving Obi the quarter water for this game is this. He had 2 back-to-back three-point shots that really helped us. I'm trying to figure out where in the game it was. But I believe if he had not hit those shots, we would have either been further behind. It could have been around the time where Charlotte Hornets took their lead for the first time, or it could have been in overtime. I'm not quite sure when he hit him. But I do know when he hit the first one, he was looking to pass the ball out. He was looking to kick the ball out, and everybody was covered. So he had to gather himself and put the shot on. But he did it it was so fluid. He did it with ease. And that was a big shot. That was a big shot. I think it gave us a little bit more breathing room. And he went down the floor and he came back and he put up another one. Not only did you hit that big shot in a big moment, but you had the confidence enough to come and take the second shot. So for Obi, his stat line was this. Obi had 9 points. All right. He shot 3 of 4 from 3-point range. And 2 of those were back-to-back. And it's that impact. Although he only had 9 points, it was impactful in that quarter that he was able to contribute to helping build that momentum that pushed us to secure this victory. What I absolutely love about it is it's one more testimony that goes towards Tibbs giving him the green light to take that shot if you have it. And I love the fact that he had the confidence to do so. Some people will argue, that argument between why he getting a certain amount of minutes. Julius got all these minutes. It needs to be more even. Listen, one other thing that I love about Obi is Obi will never complain, at least not right now. But Obi, you will never hear him complain. He is clear with his role on the team, but I think it's also been clear that he's been communicated to that you're going to have a greater role as the time goes by. But for right now, we have a game plan, and this is the role that I need you to play within this game plan. And he's fully accepted that. Every time you see him on the sideline, he is supporting his team. He's yelling for them, waving the towel. Like, that's all you can ask for from a young player who has talent. Okay? So shout out to Obi, Mother Flippin' Toppin. You are the quarter water, sir, here at Knicks Deli. All right? So that is it for the Knicks Deli menu. Let me go to the chat real quick. If anybody else, let's see what else. If you guys have any comments on who you had for the quarter water as well. Then we're going to jump into Nah, son, you wildin' moment of the game. So give me 1 sec. Let me pull these up. Boom. Let's go. Let me back up. Oh, y'all live in the chat, man. Let's go. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all live in the chat. All right, Ashley, Inc. 1. I see you had Cam as the dollar slice. Let's go. I see you. Shout out to Cam, man. I'm happy for this man. He had a Julius Randle spinning and sending moment. I'm not going to lie to you. He was spinning and sending. But I love the fact that Tibbs is giving him time to make a mistake and play through it. All right? I think he's going to be important for us this season. So shout out to you, Ash, for that. Also, my man GK says Mitch and the underdog was Rose. I agree with you for the dollar slice, Mitch, as well as Rose. Gruko also says 12 minutes, 12 points. That is good. Yo, listen, man, Rose, bro, we have a former MVP on our bench, knowing his role clearly and playing his role to the max. Ruggs 89 had Obi. I see you. You see I had Obi as well. Okay? GK also said Obi is bringing in new energy for sure. Feeling you. You 100% on. Another shout out to D Rose. Okay. Ashley Inc. 1 also says D Rose is the chopped cheese, but it should have been Obi. Yes. Yes. I could see that. I could see Obi. Okay. So GK also says that's facts about D Rose. Appreciate that. Now, it's a lot of positive. It's a lot of kumbaya, but we got some things to talk about because last night there was a lot of, listen, it was cardiac Knicks. So we're going to get to that. So I'm letting them get all the love right now. Cameron, let's go. Cameron Goldberg says, I just hope this is not last year. That bad fourth quarter is killing me. Cam, I got you, bro. Stick with me. I got you. I ain't letting it go. It's not going over my head. I got you. So we got Mike Gowdy. Let's go, Mike. What up? I'm late, but I'm here. Let's go. I appreciate your support. Shout out to y'all, man. I hope that ain't too loud and killing y'all ears, but shout out. I appreciate y'all. So we're going to get into it. Let's go. New Eurekan 7126 is in the building. Obi, he should have got more minutes. I agree. I think the minutes are going to come. I think they're still trying to figure out what that balance looks like in this mix of players. But once again, Tibbs is always like the game tells us what to do. So I think for that moment, man, the most important thing is that we secured the win. But I think for last night, the game told him that Obi got the minutes he got. So Ashley Inc. 1 said Obi is the correct choice. Let's go. We got 2 more with Mike. Mike Gowdy says Obi's game is legit. I agree. And it's only going to get better, man. He was an older rookie when we got him. But the way he thinks through the game, man, is speeding up. And we can say what we will, but the fact that he is learning from Julius, like you can't doubt Julius's ability to play in this league. He's high level. He has moments. He has those moments. He has Julius moments, but he's high level. And Obi has a chance day in and day out to battle him and practice and learn from him. All right. And lastly, click the thumbs up button, peeps. I appreciate you. Facts. If you can, click the thumbs up. Share this and just look out for more lives. I'm going to start doing on a little bit more as well. But I appreciate all of y'all and your comments. One more. Let's go. Garuka says we need to talk about Knicks picking up our rookie's 4th-year option. Yes. If nothing else, there is a benefit. There is a benefit of bringing in a player like Jalen Brunson and adding him to a team that's been together for 3 or 4 years already. Like, unheard of. And I'm not making this comparison on any other level other than the cohesion. The Milwaukee Bucks, when the Milwaukee Bucks was able to add Bobby Portis to a team that they already had who's been together for a number of years, when they went into their championship season, that was also, I think, the year of or the year after Giannis re-signed with them. He said the important thing was that they kept the same core group together. Listen, people can say we value our players. Let them say what the organization apparently is overvaluing them as well if they're keeping this group together. I know we was ready to ship them out if we had an opportunity to. I understand all of that. But the fact of the matter is the group we have now has been together for 3 to 4 years. All right. They've seen each other grow. They've helped each other grow. And we've added Jalen Brunson to that group. So for us to actually sign the extensions for the 4th-year extensions for those young players, all right, we may question if, I think I saw some people may even say, IQ, I don't know, what we do with that with Obi, if he's going to be backing up with Julius. We can have all of those questions. But the fact that they did that is telling the rest of the league we are stable as an organization, that we are taking care of the players we draft, that we take care of our players. Nobody questions, I know Miami has won championships more recently than the Knicks, but Miami does that all the time. And when free agency pops up, when you go to that organization, they have a track record of taking care of their players. Pat Riley, as GM and as coach, has always been part of organizations where players and free agents talk about how they take care of their players. This is all about changing the narrative of what players see New York to be. So when you see them keeping these young players and these young players enjoying playing at the Garden for the Knicks, ultimately that investment is an investment in players later on who are going to consider coming to the Mecca. That's a long-winded way of saying that. I apologize, but that's absolutely what it is. So for us to extend for those young players shows, and it couldn't have been any more critical of an example than Dennis Smith Jr. All right? Shout out to Dennis Smith Jr., who tried to make his name on us last night, and it didn't happen. But he did right by himself. So two things I love about that. First, that he didn't get a chance to come off and have a revenge game against us. But the way he played shows that he is now comfortable in who he is as a player in this league. But the way he left New York is what everybody will talk about. They'll talk about how the fans booed him while he was here. But more importantly is the narrative that's out there that New York, you can't develop in New York. You can't grow and make mistakes in New York or they'll get rid of you. So for us to sign that extension for the young players that we have, that kills that narrative. That no matter what we see from IQ or how frustrating we see it, he's our player. And we know, you telling me LA couldn't use an IQ right now? You telling me LA couldn't use a Cam Reddish right now? You think they won't trade for them in a heartbeat? You telling me, I know he's older, but you telling me they won't take Evan Fournier right now with the shooting that they need? But we're allowing these players to work through what it is they need to work through. And in essence, they're working on other areas, whether it's trying to commit more defensively, whether it's rebounding or whatever have you, okay? So that extension of those young players not only is showing confidence in their contributions to this team, not only is telling them that they're a part of winning and turning this whole thing around. They were here from the beginning, their endurance, and now we're rewarding them. But it's also speaking to the rest of the league that as a young player, that we're not unstable anymore here as a leadership team, as an organization. You can grow here, all right? And you can become something, and we'll stick by you during that process. At the end of it all, though, then we'll reconsider. But you won't be able to say that we didn't give you a chance to grow in the spotlight here in the Mecca, all right? So I absolutely love that. So kudos to you, sir, for bringing that up. I want to kind of come back to the comment sections a little bit later. I don't want to keep you out forever. But we talked about who the quarter water was. It's only appropriate that we talk about the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the day. All right? When I say nah, son, nah, you wildin', what that is it's usually a point in the game where you give the screen or your television a side eye, right? You start looking like, yo, bro, what you doing? What you doing? It could be a player that makes a boneheaded play. It could be a commentator that says something that's really pause-worthy, or a commentator that says something that's off the chain. It could be a reporter, not even during the game, either before the game or after the game. Something makes you look at the screen sideways and say, you wildin', all right? Now, what I'm going to say is that's got to be a couple of things. Evan Fournier, I'm sorry, bro. I know I gave you a little bit of kudos, but I'm going to throw you in here. And not necessarily you, but the take fouls. And the fact that you went back-to-back with the 2 take fouls in this game. So it's the take foul rule change. It is also the Knicks defense. Y'all wildin'. Yo, as much good as we talked about, bruh. Yo, that defense, we got a lot to work on. We got a lot to work on. Listen. I know I'm at. Listen. I got to keep going. Yeah, we got a lot to work on with the defense. All throughout I'm a 90s kid, right? Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley. And it's so funny because as Knicks fans, if you were old enough to be in that era and watch that era of basketball, we like to talk fondly about those 90s Knicks, right? Yeah. We like to look at those 90s Knicks and be like, yeah, y'all couldn't play back then, and we look at our heroes, Ewing, Starks, or whatever have you. What we failed to talk about is that was some ugly ass basketball. I'm sorry. Look. I don't listen. Throw tomatoes in the chat if you hating on me for that. But I loved it because it was defensive. It was gritty. I ain't gonna let you move. We're gonna foul like 7 times. The scores would be 80 to 77, 80 to 71. Sometimes we would hold opponents to like 69 points. Imagine that brand of basketball today. All right. So we talk about it. There were teams who hated to play in the Garden because we were extra stingy when you came into the Garden. All right. I remember that game. There was a game that one of the first games that Mike came back. It was the season after when he came back. And we were so dominant at MSG that he was so excited to get a victory at the last minute. He ran off the court celebrating. It was that big of a deal. We held down the fort at the Garden that strong that the greatest was happy to just get the victory and run off the court. All right. But that brand of basketball was ugly, bro. It was ugly. You had to stay locked in as a player because it was also rough and tumble. All right. So last night, just to see so many spots of ugly mistakes, listen, it was comical that Clyde Frazier had just talked about the Knicks being susceptible to the backdoor passes. And then they were susceptible to the backdoor pass. I was just like, no, bro, are you serious? And he said it all over. He said, basically, he was just like, I just mentioned that the Knicks need to clean up the backdoor pass. Pass RJ. Pass Fournier. Those moments where you get the ball and then you go into your spin, Cam Reddish. Like, what are we doing? What are you doing? Evan Fournier with the little fake crossover and you losing the ball, which causes the take foul. It's game 4. All right. And I know it's funny because I've been listening to, some of the feedback and a lot of people are just tight about that. You know what I mean? A lot of people are tight about, so some of the defensive efforts, the defensive play, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But it's one of those things where it's just like defense is the concern. Okay, I'm super stoked to be 3-1 right now, like crazy, and we should be proud of that because nobody expected that. We looked at the schedule and we may have thought, yeah, we could be like, was it 2-2 or. We looked at it. If nobody else, Knicks Nation was like 3-1. We got a chance. All right. But the next 10 games, I'm excited for. And I'm excited for because we have an opportunity to now measure up with this new style of play, with our new personnel, measure up against some of these teams who last year were playoff teams or competing for a playoff spot. All right. But it's not going to be good if we continue with these same mistakes. What I'm proud of and what I absolutely love is we have a coach who you already know is killing a team in film study about these same mistakes. We do have a coach who is a demon when it comes to film study. But we also know there's a history of every player that's played for him who says, Tom Thibodeau is going to get you prepared. Because he's going to point out what your mistakes are and let you know so that you don't make those same mistakes. And that's the value of this being a marathon and not a sprint. We're only at game 4, and we were all frustrated. Listen, not since the 90s have I turned off the TV and come back like 2 minutes later to see where we were. I did that last night. I know, listen, Boomy, I don't care. I changed the channel. I did. I came back and I was just like, it was cardiac Knicks all over again. All right. But that's what I love. If that's what the season is going to look like, I'm here 133% for it. I'm here 133% for it. So really quickly, I want to dive in. Let me see if anybody else has any other comments. We're going to go through these real quick, and then I'm going to just wrap this up. I don't want to hold you too much. Let me see. Talk about the option. FSIN6, appreciate you, bro. Do your thing. I appreciate it. New Yorkian, let's talk about it. Says it's more so the biased media that riles the fans up. I agree. And that's one thing we can't fall into the trap for. You know what I mean? They will say things and plug things in, such as who is the leader of this team? Whose team is this? And that type of language, that type of talk is what makes Julius think about it. You know, those are the seeds that are being planted. But this year, the team as a whole is fighting against that. They're saying we don't care who gets the credit as long as we get the wins. All right? Let's go. Shout out to you, Kerry Cooper. Let's go. Salute, Shia. Salute to the chat. New to the channel. Peace. We welcome you. We welcome you. Appreciate that. We building this thing up. Let's look at Mike. Mike says, salute, Kerry Cooper. Kerry Cooper, welcome. Yes, yes. Appreciate y'all. Let's go, SB community. Shout out. New York, salute. New York, welcome. Okay, that's so inappropriate, but I don't care. We know our city. Kerry Cooper says, you took the words right out of my mind. Re-signing draft picks shows commitment and loyalty to the players. Other players love that kind of culture building. Listen, man, it was killing us for a few years about that, about nobody wanting to play in New York, that we didn't have a culture, but that we had a toxic culture. All right? I don't want to talk about that culture over the bridge. Okay? I don't want to talk about the culture with Socrates at point guard across the bridge. All right? Our culture right now looks like wine, man. W-I-N-E, not W-H-I-N-E, across the bridge. All right? Shout out. Let me stop that. All right. So we got Garuka saying, nah, son moment. It got to be the moment when RJ almost lost the ball in crunch time and passed it back to Jalen. Yo, oh my gosh. Oh. I tell you this much. We reflect on certain moments. There were so many games last year where we lost by a point or we let the game slip away. Okay? And the common theme that I saw across a lot of content creative videos was we would have lost this type of game last year. That's the common thing everybody is saying and agreeing on. This is the type of game we would have lost last year. You know? And it's going to be, when we get to the end of this season, hopefully we have 45 wins, shout out 45 wins, 50 wins, whatever we end up with. Hopefully it lands us in the playoffs with a good seed. But we're going to reflect back on this season and we're going to say, yo, you remember that fourth game against the Hornets where RJ almost threw away that pass? You know, what is the turning point? You know, what moments during this journey are we going to look back on and be like, yo, we've come so far from that point where RJ was turning the ball over and he couldn't get off to a good start. And I think that was one of those moments, man, because I wanted to drop kick RJ in the shin muscle. You know what I mean? Because I was like, yo, what are y'all doing? Are y'all trying to give the ball away? I don't know. It's so crazy. But thank you for bringing that up. That definitely should have been a non-sun moment of the day. All right? Kerry Cooper says, thank you, Mike. Shout out. Love when people show each other love in the chat. Non-sun moment for Kerry was when Plumlee tried to drive home Mitch. Facts. Big facts. Look, honestly speaking, man, we should be so pleased with the type of centers we have on our team. Our centers have some mobility. Plumlee, I'm a former Duke fan. Listen, I'm not a former Duke. I'm a Duke fan. I'm a Blue Devil fan. Okay, so Plumlee played for the Blue Devils. All right? Is it Mason Plumlee? Anyway, one of the Plumlees, if not both of them, played for the Blue Devils. Like, it's almost like his feet are caught in cement. Like he plods. And then looking at some of the highlights prior to them playing New York, I was just like, yo, Mitch is going to eat because Mitch is a mobile big. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, when they was talking about trading for Miles Turner, whatever have you, I was just like, yo, bro, we got someone who we picked 52nd or 50 in the 50s in the draft. We developed him. And he's going to be an example of the new prototype for the league moving forward. But it was night and day, man. But he threw that shot. He threw that shot. Shout out to Mitch, man. Shout out to the Blockless Monster. All right. Mike says Milwaukee. Yes. Milwaukee's on the horizon. You know, we'll see, man. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see how this new style looks against Milwaukee. I'm looking forward to seeing how we guard Giannis. All right? I'm looking forward to seeing if Crazy Eyes, I don't know who's injured or if anybody is healthy. I'm looking to see Crazy Eyes, you know, try to big himself up and bump his chest to the crowd. And let's see if Obi can run it and teabag him at the rim. You know what I mean? We're a different team than we were last year. So I'm curious to see how we look stacked up against the former world champs. Or are they the current world champs? Who won last year? Are they the world champs? Who won? Anyway, so I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we look against them with a point guard, Jalen Brunson. You know, we're not the same old Knicks. We're not the same Knicks they played last season. So Milwaukee, we ain't scared. We want all the smoke. All right, we want the smoke. All right. Shout out to who we got here. Big task at hand. Damn you late, brother. No worries. This is going to be replay. You know, shout out in the comment section. We just wrapping it up, but we just talking about what we expect moving forward. But I appreciate you coming through. Let's go. Shout out to you, man. Next comment, once again, is Mike. Milwaukee, Cleveland, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Boston, Minnesota, and Brooklyn. We ready, sons? Facts. Facts. We want all the smoke. All of it. All of it. All of it. No, I'm not stopping. We ready for it. And you know they're paying attention. Stop playing. If you don't think they watching what we're doing, if you don't think the NBA is watching what we're doing, then you fooling yourselves. TNT, you show up at a game. They don't do, TNT, those cats, Chuck, Shaq, they don't do no research. They just show up and say, we're going to wing it while we watch the highlights. That's why Shaq was just like, oh, my bad. I think he made a mistake. You know, and he was like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know it was that deep. It was a player who I think was pretty good, and he didn't realize it until he saw the highlights or something. I don't know. But those cats, they funny, and they're phenomenal because they're legends. But they don't be doing no previous research. They'll watch a Knicks game and not know what we're doing and be trying to wing it based off of what we did last year. Yeah, we're going to prove a lot of people wrong. So shout out to you, Mike, for pointing that out. Big Task at Hand says, right, if Jalen Brunson is not on this team, we lose this game. Super facts, man. Super facts. If he isn't, it's this calming influence, bro. And not only calming, Tibbs said it. And I love Tibbs. I don't care, all right? Tibbs said it. He said, the team looks at Brunson's face. And not only does the look that, not only the look like, calm down, we got it, but he gives that look like, these aren't his words, I'm putting words in Tibbs' mouth. Not today. You ain't, that's why I call him the Terminator. Shout out. I call Brunson the Terminator because Brunson got a job and there's no emotion attached to it. Do your job. I'm going to do my job. This man got a bag and a half. Brunson, I laugh when people was just like, he's 6'1" as a point guard. I'm concerned about the defense. The defense should be concerned about him. How you 6'1" posting up other point guards in your bag? Turn around, fade away. Turn around, fade away. No, I'm only playing scoop layup off the. Come on, man. Come on, man. Yo, we got a point guard. Yo, we got us a Chris Paul, but athletic. Stop playing. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'm gonna stop. But all right, let me go back to that. I'm sorry. Ashley says Warriors are the reigning champ. Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you doing this thing. I'm doing too much at the same time. So the former champs we got coming into the building, and you can once you win a championship, you can never take that away, especially if the star is still there. And Giannis is a problem. All right. So I'm looking forward to have Giannis looking all depressed on the sideline with his two brothers as well. We get out to a quick start and we run the score up early. It's possible. It's possible because we play a faster style of basketball. All right. Big task at hand. I think that's the undead emoji. And Kerry Cooper says, I think we can match up pretty well against the Bucks, but we need Cam to start at the 3. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me say this. Sometimes this social media thing will make you insecure. It'll have you double thinking what it is you post. And this happened to me about 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago since the end of the preseason, right? Right at the end of the preseason, I was watching Tom Thibodeau in a press conference. And the reporters asked him about the depth. And he talked about the value of the depth they had on the team. But he also said, it's great, he said we have 2 players who are in their 30s. Everybody else is fairly young. I like our youth. And he said, we have Derrick Rose off of the bench. And we have Evan Fournier off of the bench. But he's a starter. And I was just like, yo, was that a Freudian slip? I know Freud is associated with something else. But you know what I mean when you say what's really on your mind. And I quickly posted. I went to Twitter and I said, Tom Thibodeau said he loves the way Cam Reddish finishes with the starting unit when at the rim. He said when he plays with the starting unit, I like how having Reddish play along with them looks because he's able to finish at the rim on like outlet passes. And I said in that moment, I said, yo, I think Tom Thibodeau is going to start Cam Reddish and bring Evan Fournier off the bench. And I posted it on Twitter and I posted it on my community page on YouTube. And an hour and a half later, I'm like, bro, you ain't got no foundation for that. Yo, you wildin'. Are you looking for a hot take? And I went right to Twitter and I deleted it. And I went to the community page and I deleted my quote. And now I'm looking back at it like, listen, Cam has been getting a lot of time. And Cam has been given a lot of opportunity to make mistakes and play through them. And the more time he gets on the floor with all of his teammates, the more chemistry he has and the more he puts on film for Tibbs to see. I think by game 10, Cam is a starter. I think by game 10, Cam is starting. These games coming up, high-level games against playoff teams, I think he's going to be a starter. And I think Ev is going to accept it. That's firepower off of the bench. And you can hide, just as you're hiding Fournier right now, it's not really hiding him, but he's a scorer. He's a big-time shot maker. Fournier can be. But in certain respects, you have to hide him with the first unit. Hey, the same mistakes, you can hide Cam as well. But Cam is going to give you length, and he's going to give you defensive intensity, and he's going to be able to make up some mistakes as a starter. I think Cam by the 10th game is going to be starting for the New York Knicks. All right, I'll say that now on the live. So that's a great point. I think we can match up pretty well against the Bucks, but we need Cam to start at the 3. Shout out to you, Kerry Cooper. Shout out for that as well. Let me see. Yeah. All right. Let me get through a couple more of these and then I'm going to wrap this up. I thank y'all for rocking with me. This is my second live overall. I ain't going to lie. You know, sometimes it's nervous because you don't know how it's going to work out. But you guys have really been walking me through this. So I appreciate you. All right. Kerry also says we could also call him MJ Brunson, 2K Brunson, Game Face Killer, Jay Crunch Time. Yeah, listen. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Listen, if y'all got a nickname for Brunson, man, yo, put it in the chat, bro. We gonna rock with a couple of them. My nickname. Tell me what y'all think about my nickname for the second unit. I call them the Terror Squad. The Terror Squad. Come on, man, because I think ultimately with our depth, teams ain't going to want to play with us. Their first unit will be good, but they're not going to be ready for the Terror Squad. Okay? But what nicknames y'all have for Jalen Brunson? I love calling him the Terminator, man. Like, just hear about business, let's go. But I like it. MJ Brunson, MJ Brunson, 2K Brunson, Game Face Killer, J Crunch Time. Listen, I love it. I love it. What we got? What we got here? Big Task at Hand says, question. Is it now safe to say that the Knicks did a good thing by not trading for Donovan Mitchell? Whew. I think Cleveland has been playing good ball. You know, I think we would have been good either way. I think Knicks fans, you know, we're attached to these young players at this point. At least I am. You know, we know their stories. You know, they came with us when we were ground zero. We were ground zero. And, you know, once Obi got drafted and IQ got drafted, that story about them calling each other saying, yo, you ready to help turn this thing around? And he was just like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, yo, that's crazy. That's why their connection is so deep. You know, when you keep young players around and you help them grow together, those type of stories come up, you know? But I also know this is a business. And they know this is a business, you know, and listen, so it still remains to be seen, you know, the impact that Donovan has, the impact that our young players have on our squads and how the season unfolds. So I think the jury is still out on that question. Is it now safe to say that the Knicks did a good thing by not trading for Donovan Mitchell? I think to have Donovan Mitchell on his team with Brunson, it would have been interesting. I don't know if Jalen's transition would have been as smooth of an adjustment because he's only one player really kind of coming in and he's proven and his actions are proven and everybody else falls in line. The biggest thing so far has been Julius's ability to acquiesce to Jalen Brunson, you know? But jury is still out. So that's a great question. Big Task at Hand. That's a great question. What we have? We have Big Task at Hand. Also calling him Bronson. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all was wondering. I was gonna put that on one of my videos, but I was just like, yo, my young cats, my young fans who are relatively young, you know, would they know Brunson? You know, would they know Bronson, Charles Bronson? So I love that reference, man. I love that reference. Mike says, in Jamaica, we would call him the Rockstone. Let's go, Rockstone. Let's go. Gunshot, more fire. Let's go. All right, let me see. Kerry Cooper says, Look, yo, and I was close to correcting you, like Donovan Mitchell. Don't worry. I'm tweaking. Don't worry about me. That's a good one, though. Donovan who? All right, Big Task at Hand also at Kerry Cooper Facts. Let's go. Listen, folks, I really appreciate you. Y'all made this fun. You helped me get through it. I'm definitely down to do more lives. Less videos, the videos I can actually think through and plan out. But man, it's just different when I'm just vibing with you guys and just talking a little bit about this game. It was a great game. You know, it was a cardiac game once again. But man, I just love the journey, bro. Every game, seeing the adjustments, the frustrations, but also just talking about Tibbs wanting to make changes. And we're seeing it before our eyes. I know he gets a bad rap. And I'm going to call him out when I need to call him out. But what I'm proud of is his adjustment to the style of play. his adjustment in terms of letting players, the young players, get their time in. The narrative was that Cam wasn't a favorite of his, and it just seems to be that Cam is on an active job interview. I think he's getting so much time to determine if he's part of the solution or part of the next steps, for adding a piece that's part of the solution. So I just love this journey, man. Tomorrow, the Bucks. I'm not going to do a preview, but I'll definitely hop on probably the following day because there's so many good content creators who will hop on directly after the game. I may want to watch theirs as well. So listen, we're going to tie this up. Thank you for rocking with me, spending some time with me. Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to our lives. It applies to our team. If there is no struggle, there's no progress. All right? And one last thing. We here now, and we got next. Shit Brands Podcast. We out. Appreciate y'all.